Chapter 4. I had the time of my life. Life for me has been reflective, indeed. Humdrum, drip drop. Everyone has their own answer. Although it has never been easy, I take one day at a time. Humdrum, drip drop. Facts are facts, and the past is the past. But everything you've been through has made you who you are, so you still have nothing to complain about. I think it was in 6th grade, 1972, when Sister Ermac at Our Lady of Mary Catholic School came in and asked the class if anyone wished they had been born of black color. To this virtually all-white class, no classmates did or said anything. But I figured it out at the time. If I was born black, I would not have any choice in that, right? Humdrum, drip drop. So I was 12 years old when I learned that we have no right to judge anyone based on color. And I was 5 when I learned how to tie my shoes and tell time, including counting my 5s. To me, God seems to give me greater and greater challenges, but I am by no means the most endearing sob story in town. My ex-husband took our son and left me alone in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at Oral Roberts Medical School. Humdrum, drip drop. I gained a best friend in medical school and learned a lot about life and love, got free legal help, a caring attorney, the support of my mentor, Dr. Louis Tremp, and 3.5 years later, a divorce that included my being given full physical and legal custody of my son. That was one of the most exhilarating days of my life. Humdrum, drip drop. Before the car accident, I used my body and I moved with it, challenging it to do various physical now hardships that perhaps I will never do again. I have a right biceps tendonitis and a left antecubital area that is post-operative, day 1, status post, new sutures placed to keep the IV in my arm. Humdrum, drip drop. But look at what I was able to do then, and what I am able to do now. Before the accident, before I was no longer able to dance, I danced with God's stars in heaven every time I danced. Humdrum, drip drop. And I'm now sorry for the past, for every guy that asked me to dance and I said a polite no thanks. I had to forgive myself to go on something that is an entire book in itself. Seriously, ask my psychiatrist who has helped me rebuild back my own life. But a great dancing cowboy and I took the house down once, such that everyone in the club stopped and made a big circle for us to dance alone in. Humdrum, drip drop. It was surreal as the audience broke out into avid applause, clapping in beat with the music as we stunned ourselves in the passion of the moment, and then reveled in this unexpected spotlight together. I should have danced more often. For over 35 years before my car accident, swimming was my favorite sport, and I still have the biceps to show for it. Humdrum, drip drop. Growing up, my father made me so adept at racquetball that over the span of 25 years, I could only play with guys, because I would beat most girls. I was adept at ping pong or table tennis because us kids brought our ping pong table into the house every heat wave summer. My father also taught me how to throw a football mean and long and impressed upon me how happy he was to go to work every day in the aerospace industry. Humdrum, drip drop. He loved going to work every day, and he couldn't believe that he was getting paid for it. I was much too young to understand it at the time, but I understood what he meant when I was at Stanford. The best professional year of my life was at Stanford, and Dad, I now know what you meant. I loved every second of every day. Humdrum, drip drop. It was a dream job of a lifetime to have the honor to shake hands with my mentors, the attending physicians in the critical care team, all of them polished, super intelligent men. At the age of 6 or so, as I walked across the indoor pool area, there was a young lady with a rubber swim cap strapped under her chin, and she was standing in 9 feet of water. I turned to look at the number of 9 carefully, and then looked at her outstretched arms scuttling water. Humdrum, drip drop. Fascinated, I vowed that I, too, would learn to do the same, i.e. tread water. Every summer we were booked at the local pool. Humdrum, drip drop. I went from a pollywog to a dolphin, and loved the smell of chlorine on my skin after swimming in the Ridge North public swimming pool. We volunteered so that at lunchtime we could get to stay inside the swimming pool while it was closed to the public. Humdrum, drip drop. We used to eat lunch with the lifeguards, and I did make it up to junior lifeguard. Went to local competitions, and in high school this is where I started being on swim team. At Grenada Hills High School, I would walk from Northridge to Grenada Hills for school, then walk to Petite Park a couple miles away, then do all the swim team exercises, then walk all the way home and do my homework. Humdrum, drip drop. I would push myself to do more laps for years on end, swimming up to 100 meters a day, 5 to 7 times a day in medical school. Or was it 1,000 meters a day? It would take me an hour to swim. I was even asked to be on swim team in medical school. To do that flip turn during practice and competitions, and to perform water ballet to chosen music, heard underwater in synchrony with ballet legs in performance as we did synchronized swimming. Fond memories. Humdrum, drip drop. My PICC line cannot get wet, or it will be exposed to increased risk of infection. Humdrum, drip drop. It is my lifeline for now, so I'll refrain myself from running around in the pouring rain. Besides, the suture area still feels raw from getting 2 new sutures placed yesterday. Running was my second favorite sport. I loved the smell of freshly cut grass in the morning air as I used my determination to push myself to run harder and faster. 2.5-mile course including hills, 17 minutes, best time. I continued running through medical school at Oral Roberts School of Medicine, wherein we had to do a run within a certain time period, e.g., run 2.5 miles in 30 minutes. Humdrum, drip drop. During critical care fellowships, Sarah and I went to the gym together. We also danced at various places, including Top of the Drake, the Sir Francis Drake Hotel, in downtown San Francisco. Later, my research assistant Ben and I would run the track at the University of Pennsylvania and venture long, long runs along country roads in Bucks County. Once we ran so far on such a hot day that I was seeing black with white spots, and we stopped during local church service to ask for water. Humdrum, drip drop. We're dripping sweat and wearing shorts while all the churchgoers are dressed up for the Lord. That was the best tasting water I've ever had. Humdrum, drip drop. I am fortunate to have traveled. As a child, we moved to and from Texas, so the road trip trailer was as familiar as I drew pictures of mountains and horses. At 13 years old, my first big trip away from home, I went in the summertime to visit my bestest friend from kindergarten, Anne, and her family in Anchorage, Alaska. Humdrum, drip drop. Anne got some teeth pulled, and her mom made a great strawberry shake, and also some lovely raspberry jam from wild raspberries we picked. I cried and cried the night before I left their home, wishing I could stay and live with their family. Humdrum, drip drop. I knew they had a real family. Humdrum, drip drop. I used to wish I was an adopted child so I could run away from home. I was disappointed to see my first view of my birth certificate. In fact, I was not adopted, but I always longed to be in a loving family. And I was always a little resentful that all my friends had a mother and a father. Then I had my father, who was my inspiration for life. In high school, I went camping at Lee Carrillo Beach with Serena and her family. Now there's a story to tell here. Humdrum, drip drop. Hot chocolate just handed to complement my room fireplace churning and the raindrops claiming their spots on the ground. In Leo Carrillo, I learned more about real families. 2 things I remember. One was eating lobster at this huge fire her father made. I had never seen live ones boiled. And the other was using the men's room to take a shower because the ladies' room shower had a line that was way too long. Not thinking of how we would get out of there once we were done. Serena and I finally ran out with our head towel draped over our heads. Boy, the comments we got. Growing up in the 70s. Humdrum, drip drop. Can't act like that now. I traveled to Tulsa, Oklahoma for medical school number 1, married and with my child. Because I needed family help caring for my son, we moved to Los Angeles, California for medical school number 2, going through divorce. We made small trips to Big Bear Lake where snowboarding was the best thing next to a loaf of bread. Las Vegas, where I did not gamble but did Christmas shopping instead, and Lake Arrowhead, California, where I entered the courthouse to get married, and I left it as I had arrived, single. Humdrum, drip drop. Humdrum, drip drop. Thanks to my very good ex-boyfriends for loving me and perhaps hating me. Humdrum, drip drop. I never knew I had a different path in my life. Thanks for letting me keep our engagement rings. In the last of the 15 years I was single, I went through 2 boyfriends, 2 breakups, too much time away from my child. I owed my child all the energy that I had outside of medical school. Sorry that I had to sleep and study. But I did establish some repetitive and fond memories. I did the best that I could. One day at a time, never looking too far into the future. Humdrum, drip drop.